In 711, the Umayyad general Tariq ibn Ziyad led a Muslim army across the Strait of Gibraltar and defeated the Visigothic king Roderick, marking the beginning of Muslim rule in Spain. Over the following years, Muslim forces rapidly expanded their control, establishing Al-Andalus as a province of the Umayyad Caliphate in Damascus. The region flourished under Islamic rule, attracting scholars, merchants, and artisans. Following the Abbasid Revolution in 750, which overthrew the Umayyads in the Middle East, the surviving Prince Abd al-Rahman I fled to Al-Andalus. He established himself as the ruler of Córdoba, creating an independent emirate that would grow into a powerful state. Over the next 2 centuries, the Umayyads consolidated power, strengthening their military and economy, while fostering cultural and scientific advancements. By the 10th century, Abd al-Rahman III proclaimed himself Caliph, transforming Al-Andalus into a major center of learning and trade. Córdoba became one of the most advanced cities in Europe, with libraries, universities, and a diverse population of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. The Caliphate reached its peak under Al-Hakam II, known for his patronage of scholars and the expansion of Córdoba's great mosque. However, internal divisions and conflicts began to weaken the Umayyad state. Civil wars, known as the Fitna of Al-Andalus, erupted in the early 11th century, leading to the fragmentation of the Caliphate. By 1031, the Umayyad dynasty collapsed, leaving Al-Andalus divided into smaller Taifa kingdoms, setting the stage for further instability and Christian Reconquista advances. By 1031, the once mighty Umayyad Caliphate of Córdoba had collapsed, leaving Al-Andalus fragmented into numerous independent Muslim states known as the Taifa kingdoms. Without the centralized power of the Umayyads, these kingdoms struggled to maintain unity, often engaging in rivalries and conflicts with one another. The rulers of the Taifas, though culturally and intellectually vibrant, lacked the military strength to resist the growing power of the Christian kingdoms to the north. Taking advantage of this disunity, the Christian Reconquista accelerated, with the kingdoms of Leon, Castile, and Aragon launching frequent campaigns into Muslim-held territories. To counter these threats, many Taifa rulers sought the protection of Christian monarchs, offering them heavy tribute payments in exchange for military support. This not only weakened the Taifas economically, but also emboldened their Christian adversaries. One of the most significant moments in this period was the fall of Toledo in 1085 to King Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile. As one of the most important cities in Al-Andalus, its capture marked a turning point in the Reconquista, demonstrating the growing power of Christian forces and the vulnerability of the Muslim states. The loss of Toledo sent shockwaves through the remaining Taifas, leading them to seek outside help from the Almoravids, a powerful Berber dynasty from North Africa. This marked the beginning of a new phase in the struggle for control over the Iberian Peninsula. Following the fall of Toledo in 1085, the Muslim rulers of Al-Andalus found themselves increasingly unable to resist Christian advances. In desperation, several Taifa kings called upon the Almoravids, a powerful Berber dynasty from North Africa, to help defend their territories. Led by Yusuf ibn Tashfin, the Almoravids crossed into Spain and achieved a decisive victory over Alfonso VI at the Battle of Sagrajas in 1086. However, rather than simply aiding the Taifas, the Almoravids soon took control of Al-Andalus, deposing the weak local rulers and establishing direct rule. Under Almoravid rule, Al-Andalus experienced a brief period of stability. The new rulers reinforced Islamic orthodoxy, suppressed internal divisions, and halted Christian expansion for several decades. However, by the early 12th century, the Almoravids began to decline due to internal corruption, Berber revolts, and the rise of a new power in North Africa, the Almohads. The Almohads, a militant Berber movement preaching a stricter form of Islam, overthrew the Almoravids in North Africa and extended their rule to Al-Andalus in the mid-12th century. They implemented a more centralized administration and achieved significant military successes against the Christian kingdoms. One of their greatest victories came at the Battle of Alarcos in 1195, where they inflicted a major defeat on the forces of Castile. Despite these achievements, the Almohads ultimately failed to maintain their grip on Al-Andalus. In 1212, a coalition of Christian forces led by Castile, Aragon, and Navarre decisively defeated the Almohads at the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa. This battle marked a turning point, shattering Muslim resistance and opening the way for further Christian conquests. The defeat severely weakened Almohad authority, leading to the gradual disintegration of their rule in Spain and setting the stage for the final phase of the Reconquista. The crushing defeat of the Almohads at the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212 marked the beginning of the end for Muslim rule in Spain. In the aftermath, Christian kingdoms launched a relentless campaign of expansion, rapidly conquering vast territories. Over the next few decades, major cities such as Córdoba, Seville, and Valencia fell to Christian forces, leaving only the Emirate of Granada as the last Muslim stronghold in Iberia. The Nasrid dynasty, which ruled Granada from the 13th to the late 15th century, managed to survive by skillfully navigating between Christian and Muslim powers. Granada paid tribute to the Crown of Castile, maintaining its independence through diplomacy and economic prosperity. The emirate became a cultural and architectural marvel, with the Alhambra standing as a testament to its artistic and intellectual achievements. However, internal struggles, political instability, and economic decline gradually weakened its position. By the late 15th century, the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, sought to complete the Reconquista and unify Spain under Christian rule. In 1482, they launched a military campaign against Granada, systematically besieging and capturing its territories. After a 10-year struggle, the last Muslim ruler of Spain, Boabdil, surrendered Granada on January 2, 1492, marking the definitive end of Muslim rule in Iberia. Although the surrender terms initially promised religious and cultural tolerance for Muslims, these guarantees were quickly revoked. Forced conversions, persecution, and eventual expulsion followed, culminating in the expulsion of the Moriscos in 1609. The fall of Granada not only signified the conclusion of nearly 8 centuries of Islamic rule in Spain, but also reshaped the religious and political landscape of the Iberian Peninsula, setting the stage for Spain's rise as a global empire. By the late 15th century, the Emirate of Granada stood as the last remnant of Muslim rule in Spain, surrounded by the powerful Christian kingdoms of Castile and Aragon. For years, Granada had survived through diplomacy, paying tribute to Castile in exchange for peace. However, as the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile pursued their vision of a unified Christian Spain, Granada became their final target. In 1482, they launched a decade-long military campaign to conquer the emirate. War was brutal and methodical, with the Christian forces systematically besieging and capturing key cities and fortresses. Granada's ruler, Muhammad Turthim, known as Boabdil, faced internal divisions among his people, as well as betrayal from rival factions within his court. By the end of 1491, the city of Granada was surrounded, its people suffering from starvation and exhaustion. Realizing that further resistance was futile, Boabdil agreed to surrender, in exchange for guarantees of religious freedom and protection for his people. On January 2, 1492, Boabdil formally handed over the keys to the city, marking the end of Muslim rule in Spain. The Catholic monarchs entered Granada in a grand procession, signaling their triumph and the completion of the Reconquista. Initially, the terms of surrender allowed Muslims to continue practicing their religion and maintain their way of life. However, within a few years, these promises were broken. Forced conversions, the burning of Islamic texts, and increasing persecution led to widespread unrest. By the early 1500s, open resistance was crushed, and Muslims who refused to convert were expelled. The fall of Granada was a turning point in Spanish history, ushering in an era of religious intolerance that would later extend to the expulsion of the Moriscos in 1609. It also marked the emergence of Spain as a dominant Christian power, coinciding with the same year Christopher Columbus set sail on his first voyage, beginning Spain's expansion into the New World. The fall of Granada in 1492 marked the end of Muslim rule in Spain, but for the Muslim population that remained, it was only the beginning of a long period of persecution and forced assimilation. Initially, the Catholic monarchs had promised religious tolerance, allowing Muslims known as Mudejar to continue practicing Islam under Christian rule. However, these guarantees were soon revoked. In 1502, Queen Isabella decreed that all Muslims in Castile must convert to Christianity or leave. Similar policies were later enforced in Aragon and Valencia. Many Muslims chose to convert and became known as Moriscos, but they were never fully accepted by Spanish society. Accused of secretly practicing Islam, they faced discrimination, surveillance, and periodic repression. Harsh measures, including bans on Islamic clothing, language, and customs, led to several uprisings, the most significant being the Rebellion of the Alpujarras, 1568-1571, which was brutally suppressed by Philip II. Despite their conversion, Moriscos were continually viewed with suspicion, seen as a potential fifth column allied with the Ottoman Empire and North African corsairs. This paranoia, combined with Spain's growing religious fanaticism, led King Philip III to order the complete expulsion of the Moriscos in 1609. Over the next 4 years, hundreds of thousands of Moriscos were forced to leave Spain, many settling in North Africa, the Ottoman Empire, and other Mediterranean regions. The expulsion of the Moriscos had profound consequences. It depopulated entire regions of Spain, particularly in Valencia and Aragon, and weakened the economy by removing skilled laborers, artisans, and farmers. Yet, despite their exile, the Andalusian cultural legacy endured in architecture, cuisine, and historical memory, leaving an indelible mark on both Spain and the lands where the exiled Moriscos resettled.